Hi, everybody. Welcome to the latest edition of Recap with Rep Jess. Hope you are all doing well. Looking forward to filling you in on a couple things that have been going on, as well as what I'm expecting to be up to later this week. But for right now, it is time for the Rep Jess Rundown. Coming in at the number one spot, my office, together with our local pharmacists and all of you who reached out to the Department of Health and the governor's office, we were able to get those second doses secured for Hilltop Pharmacy and Spartan Pharmacy. My office and those pharmacies are going to be keeping on top of this to make sure that we're doing our best to ensure that the Pennsylvania Department of Health doesn't have this problem in the future. At number two, the U.S. Senate voted to acquit President Trump during the impeachment trial. What a lead into President's Day here. Props to our senators, both Republican Pat Toomey and Democrat Bob Casey, for doing the right thing here. 2022 races are also heating up with more and more candidates announcing, which takes the number three spot. But let's not forget those important 2021 races, whether we're talking about our judicial system, the mayor's race, city, county council, and more. Make sure to get your mail-in ballot. I'm going to drop the link into the comments section here. Pasting it. And there we go. At number four, thumbs down to racism on The Bachelor. If you're anything like me, you've sought entertainment options to help you wind down during this stressful time. For me, it's been watching the latest season of The Bachelor and participating in a little bit of a fantasy Bachelor league. Bachelorette Rachel Lindsay, in the running for Bachelor Matt James Hart, has come under fire for attending a plantation-themed party and sharing QAnon conspiracy theories. Host Chris Harrison's comments further inflamed the situation by not acknowledging the harm in Rachel's actions, and he'll be stepping aside for the remainder of filming. And last but not least, while snow plowing is generally the concern of your local municipality, I'm doing what I can on the state level to facilitate an agility agreement between PennDOT and the city of Pittsburgh to help us address some of these mass snowstorms a little bit better. Now to give an update on what is going on with vaccinations. As I mentioned earlier, we had a little bit of a crisis at the beginning of this week addressing those second doses, and it took quite a number of us working together to make sure that our local pharmacies had what they needed to serve folks. So it's great that we were able to get those second doses, but it's definitely not enough. So one of the things that I think is really important for folks to understand is there are roughly 4 million Pennsylvanians who are in phase 1A. And that means we need about 8 million doses of the vaccine just to address 1A. And so far, we've received about 1 million doses from the federal government, not nearly enough. So that remains the biggest stumbling block in our ability to get shots into arms, is just that we're not getting enough from the federal government. So I keep encouraging folks, make sure to talk to your Congress people. Make sure to let them know that we need more vaccines here in Pennsylvania. But another problem that we're seeing is that, vaccine amounts and doses aside, we've got a communication problem, and we have a problem where it's really difficult for folks to be able to sign up for vaccines. Whether we're talking about older adults who may not be as familiar with the internet or even have internet access, or we're talking about the fact that, we can have a clinic sign up and those spots are just boom, gone in minutes and no centralized wait list. So you got to call around to 20 different places, hop onto those 20 different wait lists and hope that you get the call. These are things that are real serious problems, and there are other problems too. But my colleagues and I have this piece of legislation. I'm going to pull up the co-sponsorship memo here, depending on the size of your screen, maybe a little bit difficult to read. But basically, what this bill would do is it would ensure, I don't know if you can see me on the side of it or not, I may have to be behind it. But anyway, this bill would ensure that we have a centralized sign-up system. So basically, we can't, because of the way the limitations of the state are, we can't have a centralized appointment system. That's a little tricky to set up. But what we can do is create a centralized system where you can put in your info, your spouse or family member's info, and be slotted into line, essentially. You put in your occupation, you put in any pre-existing conditions, your age, all of that stuff, that sorts you into phases, and you put how far you would be willing to travel geographically to get that vaccine. Then we require all of the pharmacies to get access to the system and reach out to the next person in line, geographically speaking, who's ready for that vaccine. One line, that solves a lot of problems and helps us get an accurate picture of how many people are really waiting in each of the different phases, which is important. If we've got a bunch of different wait lists just in my district, it's hard to get an accurate picture of how many folks are actually waiting because we don't know how much overlap there is between those lists. And then on the other hand, we have these pharmacies who often have small staffs, and they're in this difficult spot of trying to administer a wait list, an email list, notify people when they've got appointments. And maybe, we could take a little bit of that off their shoulders and allow them to focus on what they do best, which is getting shots into the arms of our neighbors. So I'm excited to see how this legislation shapes up, but I think it's critically important that we do something to make it easier to know you're in line, you're going to get notified when there's an appointment, and to know that as soon as we have the vaccines, that there's going to be a simplified process for you to sign up to get your shot. So that's what I'm working on there on that front. I'm also going to be meeting later this week with UPMC, I think on Thursday, but don't quote me on that because I honestly have trouble keeping the schedule straight some days, but I'll be meeting with UPMC because there are a lot of concerns about the ways that they have behaved during this vaccination process, whether it's hearing tales of folks who are able to work from home or who are working desk jobs who aren't patient-facing, who've been getting access to the vaccines, or just poor communication or poorly run clinics. I think we saw in Southside over this, the end of last week and on Saturday that there was just a hot mess at the UPMC vaccination clinic. It appeared to be really poorly run and there were miscommunications left and right. So I want to get to the bottom of that. I want to hold them accountable and I want to ensure that our district has a real sense of what's going on so that we can make sure that the people who are serving our communities are the ones who are being prioritized for the administration of vaccines. So I'm fighting for you there as well. Let's see, what else? Oh, we have an upcoming meet and greet on environmental policy. So if you care about clean air, water, and our beautiful natural environment here in Pennsylvania, please be sure to RSVP. I will drop the sign up link here into the comments for that as well. I would love to see you all and hear your thoughts about the environmental policies that you care about. All right, it should be popping into the comments there. All right, that's about it as far as my update for today. I'll of course be back on Wednesday with more updates. And please feel free, anytime anything comes up that's about state policy, feel free to reach out to my office. You can see down here, there is our phone number, our email address, our hours. We're open by appointment. Anything that we can help you with, whether that's your property tax rebate, whether that's unemployment, whether that's questions about vaccines, please feel free to reach out. We're always going to be here for you, and I do my absolute best to be responsive to any questions that you might have. All right, that's it for the recap. You all have a wonderful rest of your Monday night.